Welcome back to the official podcast home of the Association for Materials Protection and Performance. I'm Ben DuBose, news editor with the AMP publications team. AMP, of course, is the shorthand acronym for the association. And as far as the publications, we've got three distinct brands and outlets. That's Coatings Pro Magazine, Materials Performance Magazine, and Corrosion Journal. All are housed within our publications group. As far as AMP, the big story for us is that we recently wrapped up the 2026 AMP Annual Conference and Expo. Held in late March in Houston, it was a record-setting show with more than 6,300 attendees and over 350 exhibitors, including 72 exhibitors that were brand new and also 13 new sponsors. Houston is home to one of AMP's global headquarters, so we were absolutely thrilled to be able to welcome so many people to our backyard. And then as far as AMP publications, one of the brand new offerings for us at this year's conference was our AMP Media Studio. It was basically a recording studio inside the larger AMP booth at the exhibit hall. And so what we did there, we brought in and interviewed a handful of leaders within both the association as well as the broader industries and markets that we serve. Topics of discussion included highlights of the show, industry trends, feedback from the market, as well as a few random things that are unique to each person's background. So throughout the month of April, what we're doing here on this channel is playing back those one-on-one exclusive interviews that we taped from the show. We may also use some of those quotes in future articles within our print publications or on the websites, so please stay tuned for that. But the first step is publishing the interviews and letting you all take a listen, and so that's what we're doing right now. Let's roll the tape.
I'm Sammy Miles with AMP Media, and I'm here today at the AMP 26 Conference and Expo with Tim Gonzalez. Tim, thank you for joining me today, and can you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Yep, my name's Tim Gonzalez. I'm the Vice President of Energy Integrity Solutions here at AMP.
Wonderful. And how's your week going at the AMP show?
It has been very exciting. We've had a lot of different individuals that have attended the show because we're in Houston. So I think it opened up a lot of individuals that may not be traveling to different parts of the United States, in particular for the energy industry. We are in the capital of the energy industry of the world, Houston, Texas. So I think it allowed for a lot of different individuals to participate in different events that we have going on at the conference, which has made it exciting because I heard that we've broken our attendance record, well over 6,000 attendees here at the conference. And I think there's a lot of strong focus on what our professionals do in the industry as far as protecting the different assets and increasing the life cycle and sustainability and the reliability of those assets, ensuring that the communities that live around these assets are safe, as well as those individuals that are working on those assets are able to come home every day. So I think the conference has been great. There's a lot of knowledge sharing, a lot of different technologies that are being shared, new information, research that has been available. So it's been great. We've had a lot of different speakers. So it's been wonderful.
Excellent. Have any sessions jumped out to you this week?
Well, for me, it's probably the Pipeline Safety Forum. But that's probably because I host that session, along with Kevin Garrity, the Vice President from Mears Group. That session really focuses on lessons learned throughout the year. We had the privilege of hosting Rod Seeley from PHMSA. He was there and he presented on a variety of things, talking about Paul Roberti, the new administrator of PHMSA, what PHMSA has been doing, safety advisories, different bulletins that they submitted out throughout the year. He's also talked about different aspects of corrosion and why it's so important to PHMSA as well as to the industry. We also had the former Assistant Secretary of the Department of Fossil Fuels there, Tala Gujozari. She was there and she presented, talking about the landscape, the regulatory landscape, and how that impacts the safety and reliability of pipelines and structures. We also have Jim Warner from Consumers Energy there, really focusing on a key topic that the industry is facing, which is reconductoring. And what we are doing alongside with other trade associations to work to really help educate the industry, but also our government on the Hill, to talk about what reconductoring is and the impact that it has to our assets. And then I presented on the highlights of our new industry report that we just published last week. And Most of the contributors were there, so it was really great for them to highlight a little aspect of what they contributed and talk about all the different incidents that have happened and what we can learn from the industry report. So it was great.
Speaking of the industry report, can you share more about what its scope was and what all it touched on and what our listeners and readers can learn from it?
Yeah, I think the important thing that came out of the industry report is that in order for the industry, for individuals that work in our fields to make smart decisions, we require data. And without data, we don't know what we don't know. And I think that report really focuses on highlighting information that is out there, highlighting information that PHMSA collects over the past 20 years, highlighting it and really showcasing what we get out of that information. We know that with different administrations come different regulations, new technologies, new way and new skills of doing things. But what the data shows us is that we're consistently having over 600 to 700 different incidents throughout every year. And so what this report also highlights is that corrosion is the second leading cause of failures in pipelines. And it really showcases us that we really need to continue the hard work that our members are doing and really go out there and really educate the industry as a whole on what we do, how we do it, and how we can do it better. Other aspects of the industry report that it incorporated the impacts of hydrogen, carbon capture, what that has on the impacts of pipelines. We also talked about the regulatory landscape. We also talked about the economics of what's happening, the additional pipelines that are coming out here in the United States. The good thing about this industry report, although it's focused on the United States, I'm getting phone calls from different organizations around the world because this information is also helping them. It's helping them highlight what they need to focus on. So I think that it was a successful report because we had a lot of different contributors. We had Rosen, ABS Group, Sherwin-Williams, ExxonMobil, API, and many others contribute, as well as the past Secretary of the Department of Energy, past former Assistant Secretary of the Department of Fossil Energy. So we had a lot of contributors that contributed to the report. And I also want to say thank you to Sherwin-Williams for sponsoring the report. And they also participating in adding information to the report. But it just highlights the importance. Even Sherwin-Williams highlights the importance of why this report really impacts the industry. So it was good. We had a really good report. We've had a lot of interest. I've had a lot of people come up to me and say how valuable the report has been for them. And then I've had people want additional copies. I hear that people that participated are highlighting the report and urging people to go get copies online. We've handed a couple of free copies out, hard copies here at the conference. So it's been really good. Everywhere I've been going, everybody's been talking about the report, and it's been great.
Excellent. And with that, I do want to add that the report is free online. So if you're interested in getting a copy, just go to AMP's Knowledge Hub, content.amp.org, navigate to the industry reports, and then you'll find the U.S. Pipeline 2026 report there. Then you can fill out a form and download a copy for free.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you for joining me today, Tim.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.
Is there anything else you'd like to share?
Yeah, I like to just share that, keep an eye out on the activities that we're doing. You can follow me on LinkedIn. You can also contact me via email at tim.gonzalez@amp.org. But, I encourage everybody to reach out to us, help you. We're really here for the industry. We work for the industry. We are a trade association. So I really encourage everybody to reach out and help us, try to help them better. And just know that we are consistently working to do things better. So if there's any ideas out there on how to improve the industry report, maybe some of the events that we have going on, or you just want to know what we've been doing, reach out and let us know.
Ben DuBose, news editor, AMP Media. We're here on the show floor at the 2026 AMP Annual Conference and Expo with Jen Merck. Jennifer is AMP's Vice President of Defense and Maritime, right?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So what's your week been like? I've seen you on the show floor looking very busy. I'm sure you've done things beyond the exhibit hall as well. You've got almost a week in Houston. What's it looking like for you?
I mean, just to be around everyone that is so passionate about this industry, just like I am and the rest of the AMP staff, you can just feel that energy as you're going into all these technical sessions. They know that we're at war right now, and 22% of our assets can't be deployed because of corrosion. So to be able to talk to people about that and think of innovation and efficiencies around that, you just can't beat that. I'm glad that we can bring that.
And I think the keynote speaker yesterday, John Gucci-Foley, the former U.S. Navy Blue Angels pilot, like that sort of reinforces the role of defense and maritime too, right? Because that's his background.
100%. I mean, I said, he's like, have you ever been on a flight deck? I said, I have. He's like, really? I was like, yeah, we are training the people laying down thermal spray to put non-skid on top of that because they knew there was an issue before. Water jetting wasn't working. Some other surface prep techniques weren't. So coming up with training and certification around thermal spray to meet that requirement, and then to be able to talk to Gucci about that was just unbelievable.
And by the way, we had Paul Chang from the DoD in this chair a few hours ago. So CPO now, right?
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah. So I think so much of it just comes down to representation, right? Like you set the tone with the keynote speaker, you have influential folks like Paul, and, it's not that defense and maritime weren't important sectors before, but you clearly see the representation now from, the spotlight events all the way down to who's attending, right?
Yeah. I mean, I met with him earlier today and we're talking about, teaming agreements between us and the DoD, DOW, and, these Fortune 500 companies that are members of AMP. We need to elevate our voice and we can't do that alone. So I love that Paul wants to jump in and collaborate with all these individuals. I think we can really move the needle that way.
Still not used to calling it Department of War. I'm getting there. It'll take me a little bit of time. I know you're a little more used to it. So one of the new initiatives that AMP is rolling out, there's a series of industry reports that are new in 2026 that are going out to the industry and beyond. And one of them is closely linked to maritime. Tell us a little bit about that and what some of the early reception has been.
Yeah, so the maritime report, we decided to focus on workforce development, and it was perfect because we did an announcement of Talent Force this week as well. But, this report's meant to spark collaboration across the maritime ecosystem. So we're working with the shipyards, government, and industry organizations so we can build the workforce needed to sustain America's maritime capability. So what we hope to get out of that is this collaboration. We want people to see us as an organization that does research and that we actually are moving the needle and doing things out in our country that are going to bring more workers into this profession.
In terms of how that actually happens moving forward, where do you see the pipeline of new industry talent coming from? What's the low-hanging fruit that over the relatively near term that we as AMP and really we as an industry can target?
Yeah, we definitely need to expand our talent pipeline. So from veterans to technical schools, we need to provide them clear pathways into the skilled trades. So we are approved through the Department of Veterans Affairs for some of our courses already. We're going to expand that catalog of courses that are approved. And again, that's where we plan to work with, the Painters Union, with the DOW and others to get the word out that there is a career for veterans, and for active military transitioning out. And what the benefit of all this is that AMP is in every industry vertical. So when you get an AMP certification, you don't need to stay within the military. You can go into civic infrastructure, into energy. So it's such a win. And I think we just got to get the word out that there's a pathway into craft worker trades.
We mentioned the Department of War earlier, Department of Defense, whatever you want to call it. Along those lines, AMP recently endorsed the new Maritime Action Plan from the White House. What does that mean for you? Why is that so important this year?
Yeah, we love seeing that plan come out. You could tell that there was a lot of thought put behind that. And our goal is to just make sure that there's corrosion prevention throughout that document, to make sure they're aware that we need these assets to be deployed as long as possible because we might not be able to bring them back to dry dock as frequently as we were before.
Yeah, absolutely. So when I last saw you, you're based in Pittsburgh, right?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Not an ocean. I got some rivers.
Yeah, it's other headquarters beyond Houston. That's what I thought. But when I last saw you, you were in Norfolk for the inaugural Maritime Coatings Contractor Forum, which sounds like was quite a success. We're now a month after that. We've taken some of that momentum and extended it to the annual conference here in Houston. What's the feedback been like for you after that inaugural maritime event? Are there more in the works? Just curious, 1 month later, looking back and also looking forward, your perspective on everything that we've seen in here.
I mean, amazing feedback. We've sent surveys out. I've reached out to individuals. Just the information we're getting back. We've been putting a lot of quotes on LinkedIn because we really want people to see the success in this type of structure that we put together. Our goal is to continue doing these events in other maritime prosperity zones. So we'll be doing one once a year. We're focusing on where that location will be for 2027. I was throwing out Hawaii, but I might need to wait till 2028 for that one. But maybe San Diego. We're working very closely with Mega Rust. Their conference is in June and it is in San Diego. They've asked me to put together a painting contractor panel. So this is me testing the waters for how this group out in California would want this type of model. So yeah, we're excited.
And I'm guessing it's sort of like different strokes for different folks. You want to meet people where they are. Like we have these big tent events, which is what the annual conference obviously is. But there's some people that may want something more targeted specifically to them, which is what these, more niche events like the Maritime Coatings Contractor Forum are about, right? That if someone wants to get really in the weeds, really niche, like that's what you're trying to offer with this, right?
It is. I mean, I've had several exhibitors come up to me that that were also in attendance at the Maritime event. And they said, look, we love the AMP annual event. We will not stop coming there. But boy, that niche specialty maritime event really hit what we needed. And, this is where we really hope. I'd love to get 10 to 20 to buy into doing a package where you're attending AMP annual plus one of our specialty events, because it's only a matter of time before the other AMP vice presidents of energy and civic infrastructure are going to use that model too. So yeah, let's give them a discount. Let's give I know they spend a lot of money with us, and how can we package these things? So definitely keep an eye out for our sales team to be reaching out to you.
I'm just so glad we got it off the ground, because I was monitoring the weather the weekend before when they got like 6 or so inches of snow.
Unbelievable. Yeah. And a government shutdown. Well, we were in a partial one. Luckily it was only partial, but I could not. Yeah, that weather.
It would have been terrible to have to cancel it the last.
There was no canceling. There was a lot of calls, and I was like, "We are not canceling. Let's go."
And thankfully, I mean, we got lucky. It moderated. It was above freezing by a few degrees. So thankfully, I just know it's so important to get that first one, off the ground. And now, like, you had a success. You build on it. There's something to point to, and
this felt so good. I'm just so honored to be in this position. It's my passion, and I just love to see our members getting into it too. So
totally agree.
It's been a pleasure.
That's Jennifer Merck, Vice President of Defense and Maritime at AMP. I'm Ben DuBose, News Editor, AMP Media. This is the 26th AMP Annual Conference and Expo in Houston, Texas.
I'm Sammy Miles with AMP Media. I'm here at the AMP 26 Conference and Expo with Ernst Toussaint. Thank you for joining me today.
Hello, Sammy. Thank you for welcoming me.
Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Ernst Toussaint. I started in the industry about 25 years ago as a consultant. When I graduated from Florida, one of the things I was thinking about is where should my career head? The consulting services reached out to me, and it was very interesting. There was a point in time where, the market was not as robust for engineers. And so I thought, I can do this just for a little bit. Let me do it for about a year. And I thought coatings shouldn't be too complicated, right? And so that's what I decided to do, get into the consultant services. And like a bug, Sammy, it grappled me. And I thought, wow, I love this industry. I love failure analysis, litigation, expert testimony, condition surveys, and all these, beautiful structures that we have, whether it's a water tower or a bridge or a petrochemical plant. It was very exciting.
Wonderful. And now you're the Vice President of Civil Infrastructure at AMP.
Yes. I mean, I've been a member for about 25 years of SSPC and NACE. And now as we've come together as AMP, this industry is I love it, right? It's great. This is an exciting opportunity for me to serve our members, especially in the civil infrastructure space where we're dealing with a lot of discussions around our bridges to ensure that our bridges are safe for the pedestrians, our loved ones, our traveling pedestrians. And from there, we're going into the wastewater market where we're making sure that, corrosion is not taking them by storm, whether in the clean water space or the dirty water space, which is the wastewater. that's an initiative that we take to heart here at AMP. And last but not least, we're going into the rail industry where we're talking to our railroad constituents because they're finding similar corrosion discussions like the DOTs are. So we're definitely wanting to be that space that they can, have the questions answered with regards to corrosion control.
And let's talk about the show for a few minutes. How's your week been going?
Oh, excellent. Exciting. I'm meeting a lot of new faces in addition to faces that I've seen over the past 25 years. And they've been very welcoming. I think having it here in our hometown of Houston, Texas, I think that is a fantastic atmosphere. Everybody's just, they're excited to be here. And our contractors, our manufacturers, our equipment suppliers, I've just been meeting them and they've been really excited as far as going into the conference center and seeing exactly the topics that are passionate to them. In addition to our opening reception with, Gucci being our keynote speaker, that was actually a fantastic discussion.
It definitely was. Are there any sessions from this week that you want to give a highlight of?
Sure. There's several sessions I definitely want to give a highlight to. One being the DOT forum. And with an AMP, we're very passionate about, the owners and where they reside, especially in this space. And we want to ensure that, they can work with us with regards to our standards, our trainings, our education, our webinars. The Knowledge Hub is something that, I've been talking to a lot of DOTs that they have at their fingertips, access to a lot of our standards that they need for updating their specifications. So the DOT forum went very well this week. In addition to, we had the contractor forum as well, where we're discussing just key discussions with, over 540 of our QP contractors, informing them that, we're wanting to expand the contractor network within the QP space, not only into the, bridge market, which they've been doing very well since 1989, but we want to also introduce them into the water wastewater market that's, vibrant at this time in addition to rail. So those discussions were very welcoming and informative. And so our contractors welcomed us with open arms. Alan did a fantastic job, addressing a lot of their questions. And then last but not least, we had a bridge preservation presentation with a lot of our manufacturers, as well as our owners gave talks about, what's passionate about the bridge industry, what's changing, what are the new technologies, the single coat inorganic zinc systems that have been highlighted, which is very interesting, especially duplex systems that involve, galvanizing in addition to an organic coating being, placed on top. So it was a very, very informative discussion this week.
Wonderful. That's great to hear. And what's on the horizon for you and AMP?
Oh, very good question. Definitely expanding more into not only in North America. We're actually having discussions in China, having discussions in India, having discussions at the GCC level, just to see exactly how we can support. Because we're doing a very good job here in the States, but they're having those same corrosion struggles in those regions that I just mentioned. And it's been open arm welcoming. Our AWWA chapter in India, as well as our AWWA chapter here in the States, have been very welcoming in closing and bridging the gap with the discussion with our MOU that's in place. And so we'll be, sponsoring that event. We'll be going to that event this coming October, the AWWA India, to have, further discussions and see how we can provide corrosion control mechanisms and mitigations for them.
Great. Is there anything else you'd like to share?
I'm excited. The show, one thing I do like, especially with the AMP conference being at home, you could definitely see a lot of the joy in the atmosphere here in Houston, Texas, and they're taking a very good stance with where AMP is going and the future of AMP. I'm hearing it from the members, I'm hearing it from the contractors, I'm hearing it from the suppliers, I'm hearing it from the owners that they love the strategic initiative that has been put into place by our leadership, and they like where we're going, and they're following and wanting to support that vision.
Wonderful. Again, I'm Sammy Miles with AMP Media, here with Ernst Toussaint at the AMP 2026 Conference and Expo. Thanks for listening.
All right, that will do it for this interview from the 2026 AMP Annual Conference and Expo. But please stay tuned throughout the month of April, because we've got quite a few of these that we're going to be debuting on our AMP and Coatings Pro podcast channels. Our hope is that the information and insights from these conversations will ultimately benefit our readers, association members, and the industry as a whole. And beyond the podcast channels, don't forget to check out our print publications, our social media pages, and our websites for Coatings Pro Magazine, Materials Performance Magazine, and Corrosion Journal. All of those brands are housed within our AMP Publications family, and we'll have lots of great exclusive content from the show coming out in the days and weeks ahead. Just stick with us and we'll have more to come. Anyway, that will do it for today. On behalf of our entire editorial team, I'm Ben DuBose, news editor for the AMP Publications Group. We appreciate you so much for checking out this interview, and please come back soon for more exclusive coverage of the 2026 AMP Annual Conference and Expo.